Pokemon Lazarus is the best new Pokemon ROM hack, and we're gonna learn why. So, Pokemon Lazarus is a fan hack that has a whole new professor, a whole new region, and it's like an original story and everything, whole new protagonist, and the graphics give like big retro vibes, which I really like, and there's a lot of Pokemon to catch in this one. So, let's get started with our new journey. If you like this form of video, please leave a like or leave a comment, greatly appreciated. So we started our journey with the usual intro, made our protagonist, named him, and we were dropped off in a new town where instead of being a Pokemon trainer, we're gonna help out at the university, which I think was an interesting spin on the usual formula. And right away, one thing that I noticed was that there was a lot of starters to pick from. Me personally, I went with Litten, and I named him Zoko. And you might have noticed as well that there's Pokemon that walk around, which they do in this game. You don't have to go on the wild grass all the time. You might see them just walking around. So a parcel hasn't made it, so we had to go and help out. We went on the route, had a couple battles. Zoko was doing some good numbers, and eventually we did run into a wild encounter with that Hoppip, took him out, and we ended up finding where the wagon was. Apparently he was getting attacked by the Team Chimera member, who we had like a little bit of trouble with, but we took out the Mankey eventually with no issue. Zoko gained some XP, we got some money from that fight, and we got the parcel and had to run it back to the professor. And again, I gotta reiterate, the graphics on here are really nice. It really gives that Game Boy Color vibe. We gave the parcel back to the professor, and he told us to go fight the gym. And we caught a Sandshrew I ended up naming Rufus, because I figured it was time to expand the team a little bit. And the diversity for the early Pokemon in the routes are like really good. I like the selection that I had. And so we made our way to the next town to go challenge the gym. And on the way, we caught a Bellsprout, which I named Percy, which is supposed to be like Percy, but it looks like a pear. Very original, I know, but we added him to the team and we continued on. And in the fields, we had our first double battle, which I liked. It seems like there was a lot more double battles in this game. And the teams really reflected where the NPCs were. Like these two farm workers had a Mudbray, like a workhorse kind of thing. And I feel like the team's really reflecting what that trainer does. Just adds a little more like personality, I would say. But the double battle went pretty good. Took them out pretty much no problem. We had another wild encounter or two, and eventually we found just Mailtown. And in the center, I noticed the inn, so I decided to try it out. That's where you change the time of day if you don't want to wait, because there's a day and night cycle. And I decided to make it nighttime and catch a Woobat, who I named Swoon. Added him to the team to get a little bit of diversity there. And as you can see, the team's shaping up pretty nicely. And then eventually I decided to go take on the gym. Now the gym was a grass type gym, so Zoko went first, front and center, and he was just one man armying the whole teams of the gym trainers. So we got through them, got some levels for the whole team, which was pretty good. And eventually we took on the gym leader. And her team was alright, got paralyzed at first, but Zoko was holding his own. And Swoon, growing to level 8, learned Gust, which I figured would be a good time to put him in and, put him to work a little bit. Now, the gym leader's team was pretty good. I think it would have given me more trouble if I wouldn't have had at least Swoon knowing Gust, because the Shroomish gave him a little trouble. But we ended up going through the team pretty fast. When the Skidoo was coming out, I decided to switch back into Zoko just to make it a little easier. And I gotta say, for a first gym, I liked how simple the layout was. I liked the gym leader's team. It was pretty Polymina's team was pretty diverse, but it still fit the theme, if that makes sense. And then yeah, we went back to the professor and showed him the gym badge. He told us to head to the mountains nearby and to the west, which we did, and got some good encounters, some pretty good encounters. Had another double battle that was a little bit not challenging, but just took a little longer than I would have liked because I didn't really have anything good for the ball toy. But eventually we overcame that double battle, took them down, and made our way through the mountain again. And I gotta say, the areas are pretty diverse, like the routes and stuff. So we had to do some puzzles in the cave. And I won't lie to you, the first puzzle was easy. Second puzzle, the whole footage was like 30 minutes of trying to make the Ammonite puzzle, to the point where my girl walked in when I was recording it. She ended up helping me solve the puzzle. But with both puzzles solved, we ended up going to the Elder, and he gave us a reward for getting in as a mount, which I equipped it right away. And the mount was super fast. The handling just isn't that good. I don't know if that's intentional or not. I'm pretty sure it is. But we made our way over to the next town, and on this specific route, I ran into this problem of the Minior. The Minior wiped my team like 3 times. I'm unfamiliar with newer Pokemon, so I wasn't sure what could really beat this one. And eventually, I decided to train up a bit and to catch an Aeron, which would like hopefully help out against the Minior. But apparently I wasn't the only one having this problem. Even in the beta for this game, people were having trouble with the Minior fight. So, you know, like I said, I decided after the 3rd wipe or so to catch the Aeron, which I ended up naming Argus, having him join the team. The team was starting to look pretty well-rounded, I would say. I think Argus is going to add some good defense, and Zoko ended up evolving as well, which was good. So we took Argus into the Minior fight, and he did a really good job. Even though he was paralyzed, he stood his own ground, and I just kept potion spamming and hoping that the attacks would hit, and eventually he did as much damage as he could against the Minior. And honestly, after we got rid of Minior, the rest of the team was really easy to beat. So after that battle, we finally got to move on a bit. We got some XP, some good levels from that, and we caught a Weasel, which I ended up naming Betsy. And the funny thing is, so I had to manually add the Pokemon to the layout, to the overlay, and I forgot to add Weasel. So until the part of the footage comes up where I remembered to add her, I'll be using that Rumble sprite. I caught a Zigzagoon that I named Harleen, and it was the Zigzagoon from Sword and Shield, I believe, which I did not play, so it's cool to finally be able to use that Zigzagoon. And when I caught Harleen, that's when I noticed I didn't have Weasel up on the overlay. So I fixed that problem really quick, and we continued on. We had to fight this cop. Pretty odd to start with the Barboach, but it was fine. The Barboach kind of surprised me a bit because I was expecting the cop to have a Growlithe. That's why I kept Rufus in. The Char Cadet came in and took out Rufus, so I tried to do what I could with Zoko, and then doing Argus as well to hopefully take it out, which we did. Chatot was an interesting one. I don't think I've ever seen a Chatot actually be used since like the Diamond and Pearl games by an NPC. We struggled a little bit, I won't lie, with the Chatot because I don't think I have anything that's that good against flying. And unfortunately, we were going for a clean run right here, and the Chatot put Percy to sleep and we got wiped out. So I went back to the drawing board. I went to buy some more items, Pokeballs, potions, things like that. I went to check the PC for Harleen to see if maybe she'd be a better fit for that battle, but I ended up not taking her out because I wanted to try again with the full team, fully healed team, and we made our way back to the officer. And I decided to go with Argus first for the Barboach, but unfortunately he went with Charcadet first. The Charcadet went for a Will-O-Wisp and burned Argus, unfortunately. The trainer sent out Barboach, which did not fare better for Argus, who got one-shotted by a Mud Bomb. I decided to go with Percy and one-shotted Barboach. Luckily, I actually used Betsy, and Betsy was able to get the Charcadet out. Helioptile, I was not expecting at all. So I decided to go with Rufus and went for a Magnitude. Luckily got Magnitude 8 and got rid of him. And we continued on the route towards the second town. We had another encounter or two just to kind of level up, but I was also looking to see if there's any newer encounters on this part of the route. And like I was saying, I really like how diverse it was because we were in the mountains, now it was swamps, and I can't wait to see what else the region has to offer in that regard. We just ran into a couple weasels that we couldn't escape from, so had to take them out, which got us Rufus leveled up, and he learned Swift, which I think is going to come in handy. But we made it to the second town, so I ended up healing up, checked out the town a little bit, went to the Pokemart, and in the Pokemart they had some more Pokeball options, so I decided to stock up on those a little bit, get some different ones so we can get some variety going. And I really liked the sprite work on these, and the fact that it was every Pokeball pretty much. So yeah, I decided to stock up because for sure we're going to end up adding more to our team, but I like how our team is shaping up so far. And next time we're going to take on the second gym. But we had a little encounter in town, which I like that there's encounters in the town. I wanted to look around a bit and just get a feel for everything. Hopefully find something cool in the encounters, which we did. We found a Murkrow. So I decided, why not? We battled the Murkrow. I went for it, went to capture it. It was putting up a little bit of a fight, and I decided to use a Great Ball. We caught the Murkrow. I decided to name it Soprana after Tony Soprano, the whole mafia thing. But next time we're gonna take on the second gym. So thank you for joining me on the journey, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye for now.